Namaste. Come into your comfortable cross-seated leg position. Again, if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, I know this is not everybody's cup of tea, feel free to kneel just while we run through our first exercises. For those who haven't done my classes before, I'm Christine from Namastay at Home Yoga, your free yoga alternative practice to practice at home. So within today's class, we're looking to do what's called a warrior flow. It's just a nice sequence to run through. It will be nice work for your thighs. We're going to really be working on that hasta bandha, so that hand to earth connection. So some of my classes before I've talked about if you ever get pain in your wrists from some of the positions that you're in, there's quite a lot of yoga which is quite wrist heavy. If you ever find that hasta bandha connection is making sure that you claw through your fingers in those positions, and that when we're working on our transition of weight, that we're moving our weight into the entirety of our palm rather than just resting it sort of on this place here of just under the actual wrist. So you'll hear me throughout the class asking you to rock forward to get that hasta bandha connection, hand to earth connection. But as this class, as always, any time that you find you're thinking, this is how I used to be able to, I was more flexible, yesterday I was able to hold this longer. Just try and check the ego completely out and just find that freedom within the form, that you are in the position and feeling how that feels for your body today, and that there isn't any kind of ego moment where you want to sink deeper into a position which might lead you to having an injury. I can't see you, so it's really important that you follow my cues. Just to begin, as always, we're going to work our way down the body, just warming up, making sure that any areas of tightness is relieved before we jump into our sun salutations. So as usual, just get yourself in a nice comfortable seated position, sitting tall, really lengthen from that midsection of the body. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. They should feel nice like that, and then keep your chin as parallel to the floor as possible. We're going to start with warming up through our neck. From here, as you inhale, upon your exhale, take your right ear to right shoulder. If you want a little bit more, you can place a little bit of weight onto the top of the head, very gentle. And again, if you want to dial it up even further, just releasing your hand towards the mat. And then as you place a little bit of weight, you should feel this nice stretch down the left-hand side of your neck. We're here for 3 more breaths. Make sure you're sitting tall. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath here. And upon your inhale, releasing the hand, bringing the head back to neutral, repeating the same on the other side. Left ear to left shoulder. If you want a little bit more, placing some weight onto the top of the head, maybe releasing the hand to the mat. Remember, sit tall, try not to cave through the chest here. We're here for 3 breaths. 2 more breaths here. Really use that breath to sink into the pose, land on the mat. 1 more breath. And on your next inhale, releasing the hand, bringing the head back to neutral spine. We're just going to do some neck rolls. It's always really important to warm up your neck before we jump into any poses. So from here, as you exhale, empty the lungs, bring chin to chest. We're going to roll the neck, right ear to right shoulder first. Starting to inhale, really feel the lungs as you look up and look back. Really open up through the chest here. Rolling through your left ear, left shoulder. Starting to exhale, empty the lungs, chin to chest. You should feel a nice stretch up the back of your neck. 1 more time. Right ear, right shoulder. Feel that nice stretch across the left-hand side of the neck. Start to feel the lungs. Looking up, looking back. Really feel the lungs up. And as you start to exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Completely exhale, chin to chest, reverse the circle. Going back, left ear, left shoulder, starting to feel the lungs. Looking up, looking back, open up through that chest, really snuggle the shoulder blades back, feel the lungs. As you start to exhale, right ear, right shoulder, exhale completely, chin to chest. 1 more time around. Left ear, left shoulder, starting to feel the lungs. Looking up, looking back, really feel the lungs now. As you start to exhale, right ear, right shoulder, and then complete exhale, chin to chest. From here, as you inhale, come back to neutral spine, looking directly ahead. We're going to warm up through the torso now. From here, take your left hand, place it on your right knee. Your right hand, I want you to dial behind you, sort of in line with your sit bones or your hips there. And then sit nice and tall, and we're going to do a nice spinal twist. So looking past your right shoulder, a very gentle twist here. It's your first one for the practice. Not trying to really wring out the spine too extensively, but you should feel a nice twist. It'll come across the body. You'll feel it twisting through as if there's a wringing out, very gentle wringing out of the midsection of the body. Just gazing past that right shoulder. We're here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath here. On your next inhale, leading with the chin first, nose comes round, and then dialing the arms around next. Placing your right hand onto your left knee. Left hand is going to dial behind. We're going to sit tall and then spiral ourselves to look over our left shoulder. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in this position. And upon your next inhale, dialing the head first and then the hands to follow. From here, we just want to wake up through the chest, really opening up. So making a bind behind your back. With your bind, you can either bring it up behind you, so it will be like this from behind. We're going to pull the shoulders up, back and around, a gentle pull. We've just started our class. And if it's available to you, looking up. So you may lift the arms behind you slightly towards your shoulders. So lifting them away from the floor. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. Make sure you're pushing that heart chakra up. 1 more breath here. And then to release, try not to slingshot. Just let them gently come apart and rolling through. So we're avoiding that tendency to just spring them apart from behind. We're going to now come into our tabletop position. So our hands and knees in your tabletop. Just check your form here. We want to spread our hands nice and wide. So fingers are spread. You want that clawing sensation, that handa connection, hand to earth connection. You want to claw through those fingers, making sure as you claw through, every aspect of your palm is really pushing down towards the mat. Our wrists are going to be stacked under our elbows, under our shoulders. You'll also have the same with your hips. You want your knees to be stacked under the hip joints there. So maybe just have a little play, a little movement, make sure that feels very flat. You want a flat back position, neutral spine for your tabletop position here. What we're going to do is just warm up our abs. We're going to do some tabletop floats. Now in this position, you're going to push away from the mat and the connection with the floor, your knees will come up, but we'll be floating on the tops of our feet. So inhaling to prepare. As you exhale, push away from the mat. Scooping through that lower belly, tucking your tailbone under. Just check that your knees are only hovering off the mat, a very small amount. Too high and you'll find that you're actually tipping into other areas rather than your abs. So we're just holding here, making sure that the shoulders haven't come up near the ears. Push them away. We're here for 5 more. 4 more breaths. Hold it. I'm with you. 3 more breaths. Really pull that belly in. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath here. And release the knees slowly to the mat. Sitting back, we're going to spread our legs nice and wide, so knees as wide as the yoga mat. We're going to walk the hands out long, coming into our child's pose. This is a position you can come to at any stage throughout the practice. Ideally, you want to release the head towards the mat, so your forehead would touch the mat. If that's not available to you, stack the arms on top of each other so you can release the head down for nice relaxation. In this position, although it doesn't seem like an active pose, I want you to really push down, pushing your chest towards the mat, trying to really flatten out your spine. We're here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath here. To come out of this pose, carve a line with your nose looking forward. Pressure and weight comes back into the hands. We're going to transfer our weight onto our hands and pull our knees back in towards that tabletop position. So checking your form there. We've spread our fingers wide. I've made that clawing to the earth, hasta bandha connection. We've made sure our knees are stacked under our hip points. From here we're going to do some ab work. We warmed them up with a nice little piece there of floating tabletops. We're now going to do some tabletop diagonals. So from here I'm going to transfer from weight into my right hand, picking up my left, extending it out in front of me. The opposite to that is my right leg. I'm going to extend it out long. In this position you may already start to feel a tiny bit of shake. I want you to try and scoop that lower belly in, making sure that your back hasn't sort of bananaed into this. You're lifting your legs so high that we're dumping into our lower back. So I want it to feel like quite a neutral spine in this position. From here we're going to connect our elbows and knees, bringing them in as we exhale, connect, and extend them out long as you inhale. And your exhale, again, elbow to knee, connect them in, and inhale to bring them out long. 3 more. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, bring them out long. And again, exhale, bring them in, elbow to knee. Inhale, bring them out long. Last one, we're going to bring them in and hold for 5. So bring them in, elbow to knee. Really pull that knee and elbow into your chest. We're holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, extend them out long, and then bring them back down towards the mat. From here, maybe just pump the hips from side to side, just waking up the body. A little gentle rest before we do it on the opposite side here. So again, throughout that move, I really want you to focus on clawing the mat with your fingers, with your fingertips clawing through and making sure that weight hasn't tipped back into just purely being on the backs of your palms. The weight is transferred to the entirety of your palm and you've clawed through the mat. Okay, check your form, fingers spread nice and wide, elbows are under or over my wrists, underneath my shoulders. Picking up our right hand and the opposite being your left leg. We've extended them out long. We check our form, we tuck in that lower belly, scooping it back in. From here we're going to make sure our back isn't bellowed back, really sunk our belly in, we've scooped it in. We're going to bring our elbow to knee, bringing it in as we exhale it out. Make that connection, then bring it out long again. Check your fingers, are they clawing the mat? And again, elbow to knee, bring it in, and back out. We've only got 3 more to go, you've got this. And again, exhale, elbow to knee, bring it in, and extend it out long. Have you scooped in that lower belly? Check it again. 1 more, elbow to knee, and back out long again. Now this last one, we're going to hold it for 5. I really want you to claw that mat, scoop that elbow and knee into your chest. Let's do it. Exhale, bring it in. Scoop it in, holding it tight. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, extend it out long, and then release hands to the mat. Whew. Nice little bit of work there for our midsection, just to warm it up. You'll find with your core, it's one of the areas, if you don't turn it on earlier in the practice, other parts of the body will start to compensate for a core that hasn't fired. It's exactly the same for your glutes. Okay, from here we're going to curl our toes under. I'm going to push back into our downward dog. It's the first one for the class. We want to have a bit of freedom in the form here. As you're curling back, I want you to sort of really pedal through your feet, but a slow pedal. Just stretch out any of that tension or tightness that you might be feeling. Again, I want you to release any tension or tightness in the neck. You're looking back between your feet here. Maybe roll up through the entirety of your feet. I like to roll up through my hands, warming up through my wrists. I like to bump the hips from left to right. Again, feeling a nice stretch through the body. I like to bend my knees quite generously, and at any stage you're in downward dog, feel free to do that. There is absolute freedom in the form. You should never feel like you have to do every pose permanently in this quite static position. I want you to have some flexibility there to think, well, today it feels a bit stiff in my upper back, I want to bend my knees. Alright, from here, let's check our form. Spread your fingers nice and wide, we're clawing through the mat. I'm looking back between my feet, pushing my chest towards the mat. As I push my chest down, my tailbone naturally rises up. From there, I want to try and get my heels coming closer and closer to the mat. I take out any stress in my neck. There shouldn't be any tension being held there. And that's our downward dog form. From here, I want you to just take some baby steps, walking our hands towards the front of the mat, and we're going to meet in forward fold. In this one, I want you to again bend your knees as much as you like as you're stepping forward, just tiny steps forward, really stretching through the backs of our legs. But if you want to bend your knees, just so it feels more comfortable and you're bending for the hips, please do so. Find what feels particularly great for your body today. So from here, we're going to meet forward fold. You can bring your feet as wide as your hips, or you can bring them together. Again, the yogi's choice on that one. And because it's our first forward fold of the practice, just bend your knees as generously as you like. We bring that chest towards your thighs. Just really working through any tension or tightness that you might be experiencing there. Again, release any tension in the neck. Shake the head yes. Shake the head no. In this ragdoll position, if you want to take both of your elbows, make a little bind here. We're just going to roll from side to side, a nice gentle swing. Again, we're warming up all through the body. When you're in your forward fold, you'll hear me say this a couple of times in the practice, try and tip your weight into the balls of your feet, just behind your toes, rather than sinking back into your heels. Okay, from here, release the hands towards the mat. Just let them feel like zombie arms in front of you. We're going to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, coming up as we do, rolling up very slowly. Just take your time in this. You want to feel each one of those vertebrae movements rolling through, rolling up. Last thing to come up will be your head. When you do reach the top, just roll your shoulders up, back and down. We're going to do that 3 times in one direction. And then when you've done your 3, roll them through up, back and forward in the other direction. Oh, should feel a nice stretch through the upper back. Once you've done that, you should feel nice and warmed up through the body, ready for a sun salutation. In this one, because we're going to come into Tadasana, or our mountain pose, bring your feet together. So big toes all the way to the heels, together, together, together. We're going to draw energy up, so really pulling energy up through the front of your shins, really fire up those glutes and your thighs, really turn those ones on, pull up, lengthen through the midsection of the body, and as you do so, open up your shoulders. So bring your shoulders up, back and down, snuggling the shoulder blades behind you. Extend through the fingers, so spread those wide, and make sure that your chin is parallel with the floor. So this is the stance. If you're looking to really build posture, making sure that you've lost that hunchback Mr. Burns pose, just try and open up through the chest as much as possible. Try and turn on those glutes, which will actually start to widen your back. So from here in Tadasana, take an inhale and exhale out. We're going to roll through Sun Salutation C or Surya Namaskar C. So from here, inhale, raise the arms up. Look up to your hands, really extend your fingers long if it feels available to you. Just a slight back bend from the upper back. And then as you exhale, we're going to dive forward into our forward fold. Dialing down, I want you to really keep your arms out long. Lead with the chin coming out first. Slowly dialing it down into your forward fold. From this position, it's really important to be bending from the hips rather than rounding through the back. So bend your knees as generously as you like so you can feel that tipping from the hip sensation. From here, I want to step back with my right foot. So weight goes into the left, stepping back with the right. From here, option, if you want to dial it up, keep your knee off the floor. For me, I find I really sink into my hip flexors more with my knee down. From here, you're going to push that hip flexor down towards the floor, looking up, spreading through the shoulders. Shoulder blades are dialing back behind you. We're here for 3 breaths. 2 breaths, ensure that hip flexors dialing to the floor. 1 more breath here. Then we're going to step back with our left, so we're going to pick that back knee up. Stepping back with the left, we're going to meet in plank position. In plank again, we're here in that position where I want you to dial or claw through the fingers. Checking again that your weight hasn't sort of stepped back and it's all into the backs of your hands. Make sure you roll it forward. Just feel that sensation of rolling forward through the entirety of your palms until you notice where the sweet spot is, that the weight is actually transferred through the entirety of your hands. From here, really scoop that lower belly in, fire through the glutes, really engage those. We're going to lower down. And as you lower down, your elbows will just skim past your ribs, lowering down as slowly as you can, releasing down to your chest, untuck the toes. From here, we're going to push up into Cobra. In Cobra, I want you to dial your glutes in, fire those before you push away from the mat. And just to check your form, take your hands off the mat, checking that you haven't fallen too far. Place them back down onto the mat. When we're in Cobra, because I only want you to come up to about your belly button, it really is ensuring you're not dumping into your lower back. From here, lower back down towards the floor. Curl the back toes under. Push back up into your plank position and then hip sink back into your downward facing dog. In your down dog, just check your form. Hands are spread nice and wide. Chest is dialing towards the floor. Tailbone's pushing up. We've released any tension in our neck. And my heels are coming towards the floor. From here, we're going to step forward with our left. When you step it forward, if it doesn't make it, just give it a little nudge along the way, checking that you've got a nice 90-degree angle. You'll see again, we're just back in that position where, for me, I like to pop on my knee down, really stretch through that hip flexor there, look up, open through the chest. We're going to pick up that back knee off the floor, we're going to step it forward so both our feet meet again in forward fold at the front of your mat. In our forward fold, I'm just going to make sure I'm on camera. Again, bend the knees as generously as you like to make sure you're tipping from the hips, weights in the balls of your feet. Over time, you'll start to strengthen and straighten your legs, but the temptation will be to step back into weight in your heels. Avoid that step. Make sure that all of your weight's in the balls of your feet. From here, I want you to root to rise, so really spread through the feet. Make sure that you're placing your weight evenly through all corners of the feet. Expand the wings wide, coming up. Feel the lungs, look up to your hands, and as you exhale, coming back down, so tipping into your forward fold. Rolling through, chin is flat, making sure your back's flat as possible. We're back into our flat back position. From here, bend the knees as generously as you need. Make connection with the mat, stepping back with our left foot. And when we step back with our left, make sure that you've got a nice 90-degree angle with that right foot. I like to place my knee down, look up, spread through those shoulders. Make sure that you're looking up and spreading through, but in the same time, we're now working on the other side, our other hip flexor. You're going to push that down towards the mat. We're going to be holding here for 3 breaths. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. Really feel that hip flexor working. We're going to pick up our back knee. We're going to step our right foot to meet our left in plank. Again, in our plank position, claw through those fingertips. Tip the weight back and forth until you can feel that sweet spot where it is completely into the entirety of your palms. When you reach that position, I want you to lower down slowly. Elbows come past the ribs. Remember, you can always put your knees down if you're new to yoga. All the way down. Releasing the toes. From here, we're going to fire on our glutes first. Then we're going to push away from the mat, just to our belly button. Checking again, take your hands off the mat. And place them back down. Laying back down. Curl the toes under. We're going to push back up into plank and then dialing back through into our downward facing dog. In your dog, feel free to pedal the feet through again. Just feel if there's any tension you want to work through. Checking your form, fingers are spread nice and wide. I'm clawing through my fingertips. I'm looking back between my feet. pushing my chest towards the mat. Tailbone is dialing up towards the ceiling and my heels are driving down. From here, I want you to step forward with your right foot. We're going to place that back knee down if you want to join me in having that deeper stretch through the hip flexors. You should feel as you're doing it, you're pushing your glute towards the short edge of the mat. Looking up, open up through the shoulders. Here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in this position, then we're going to pick that back knee up. We're going to step it forward to meet our right foot in forward fold. Again, bend the knees as generously as you like to really tip from those hip points. Remembering that the weight is always in the balls of our feet. It always feels like you're folding forward rather than backwards, hence the forward fold. From here, we're going to root to rise, really spread through the toes. We're going to span our hands out like wings, and as we do so, we inhale to come up. So here we go. Inhale as you come up, looking up to your hands, really spread the fingers wide, and then as you exhale, hands to prayer at your heart center. From here, take a long inhale, and exhale out. One more time, inhale, and exhale out. On your next inhale, I want you to rise your hands up again. Looking up to your hands, maybe a slight back bend from the upper back, and we're going to float back through to forward fold, tipping from the hips, keeping a nice flat back, rolling through to our forward fold position again. From here, I want you to step back with your right leg, keeping the knee off the ground. We're going to come up into our warrior 2 position. For intermediate students, crack ahead if you'd like to. For the rest of us, push away from the mat. As you do so, span the wings out, span the arms out wide, and then pivot on this back foot. As you're pivoting, I want you to tuck those toes in and just check, does my heel line up with the mid-center of my foot? If you're quite flexible, it can be heel to heel. Arms are out nice and wide. We've pulled those shoulder blades back towards each other. We're going to bend through the front knee, looking across over our left fingertips. And we've made sure that we've dialed our hip flexors under, our tailbone under. From here, we're staying for 5 more breaths. 4 more breaths. Really sink into that front knee. 3 more breaths here. Check that that back hand hasn't started to sink down. You want them nice and level. 2 more breaths here. 1 more. And I want you to flick that front palm. We're coming into reverse warrior. Your palm comes up and over, and we're dialing our right hand down the back of our thigh. We're going to look it to our extended hand. Make sure we've opened up through the chest and sink into that front knee. We're here for 5 more breaths. 4 more breaths here. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. Sink lower. 1 more breath here, and we're going to come into our side angle stretch. So bringing that left elbow onto our bent front knee. We're going to dial our hands up. We're going to try and bring that top shoulder back. So we're looking up under our armpit chest region. We're here for 3 more breaths. Sink into that front knee. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. Then coming back up into our warrior 2, just for a second. Then dialing both our hands, windmill them down, framing that front foot. From here, I want you to step both of your feet together. We're going to come up into a Utkat asana, or chair pose. So from here, I want you to bring the arms up. And as you exhale, sinking back. So our feet are about hip distance apart. We're just going to sink back into chair pose here. We're here for 5 breaths. 4 breaths. Make sure that you're looking just in the distance. Keep a point of focus. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And as you inhale, come on, rise back up. In this position, I want you to step back. We're going to come into our wide leg position. I want both of your toes to be facing towards the front of the room, wherever that front of the room is for you. We're going to come into our Prasvittanasana, or intense wide leg stretch. So from here, place your hands onto your hips. Really bring those shoulder blades back towards each other. Elbows are dialing in towards each other. We're going to do a quick back bend to begin. So looking up, just back bending through. Upon your exhale, and upon your next inhale, we're going to slide through, keeping our chin parallel to the floor. Nice flat back position. We're going to keep rolling through until you find that position where you no longer move any further. Release the hands towards the floor. In this position, feel free to adjust your legs, maybe make them a little bit wider, dealer's choice. And if it's available to you, walk the hands back so the fingertips are in line with your feet. Now in this position, there's a tendency to sort of tip back into your heels. I want you to rock forward so you can feel the weight of your body in the balls of your feet. If it's available to you, just release any tension that's in the neck, no matter where you've landed in this position. And just take a couple of big inhales here. We're here for 3 more breaths. On your exhale, sink a little further. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath here. And then come back, walking onto the fingertips. Just place a micro bend in the knees, protecting our knees here. We're going to release both of our hands to our hips. And we're going to roll back up. Nice flat back position. Getting to the top of there. As you exhale, just a slight back bend. Looking up, looking back. And then inhale, come back to neutral spine. From this position, we're going to roll our right leg just to come into a 90-degree angle. We're going to tuck the toes of the back foot. And then just check your form. Make sure that your heel is in the midpoint of the body. We're going to open up into warrior 2. So arms come out. Spread them wide, sink into that front knee. Make sure you have it followed that front knee, keeping your heart over your pelvis. We're going to look out over that extended right hand, making sure that our tailbone's tucked under and that we've pulled our shoulder blades back, and we're just trying to roll them in towards each other, or if it helps, pinching that pencil behind. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. We're going to flip that front hand. We're going to dial it up and over into our reverse warrior. Our left hand traces down the back. We're going to look to that extended palm, sinking into that front knee. We're here for 5 more breaths. 4 more breaths here. 3 more breaths. Sink into that front knee. 2 more breaths. You should feel a shake. 1 more breath here. And then we're going to come into that side angle stretch. So bringing our right elbow onto that bent knee. Left hand goes up and over. We're really trying to dial that shoulder up and back, making sure you haven't sunk too much weight into that bent knee. We're here for 5 more breaths. 4 more breaths here. Tuck the tailbone under. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. Really push that shoulder back. 1 more breath here. We're going to come back into that warrior 2 just for a second. Then our windmilling our hands down, framing that left foot, our right foot. From here, we're going to step the right back to meet the left. We're now in plank position. From plank, you can either push back into downward facing dog, or you can follow me through a tiny little flow just for that extra little bit of juicing the lemon claw through the fingers. We're going to come down into our chaturanga, so yogi push up. And then halfway, I'm going to stop, untuck my toes, and push up into my up dog. Really dialing my glutes so that I'm not sinking into the backs of my lower back. From here, I'm going to tuck my toes under and then meet everyone back in downward facing dog. Nice little cheeky flow. Rolling in there to really get the last of our warrior flow sequence. From here, I want you to just release the knees to the mat. We're going to bring them as wide as the yoga mat. Nice wide leg balasana. Big toes touch behind. Sinking our glutes back towards the meet our heels. Walking the hands out in front to wherever they land. Releasing the head, the forehead to the mat. And as you do so, really pushing that chest down to try and flatten the back. We're here for 4 more breaths. 3 more breaths here. Really catch your breath. We worked hard in the warrior sequence. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. From here, in your next inhale, I want you to lead with your nose. Carve a line forward, looking forward. Weight comes back into your hands. I want you to walk the hands back towards your wide legs. We'll bring the knees together. From here, we're just going to swing our legs out in front of us. So we're going to bump the hips to one side, gently swing them round, coming into our comfortable position here. So from this position, if you've done any of my classes, you know that any time that I like to come down to laying onto the yoga mat, I try and make it an active abdominal position. I know we worked out abs at the start of the class, but it can never do too much. So I want you to curl your toes, bring the toes flexing towards the face. You're going to scoop your lower belly in. We're going to open up through our chest. So our shoulder blades, the tops of our shoulders are away from the ears. It's like we're holding a giant beach ball in front of us. From here, we're going to roll back for 10. So come with me. And we're rolling back for 10, keeping those heels on the floor. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We're now at halfway. 4, 3, feel the shake. 2, and on the 1, release completely to the mat. Give yourself a nice big body stretch. Extend the legs, extend the arms. Ooh, like you would in the mornings. Feels lovely. From here, I want you to bring your right knee into your chest. Just hug it in. Just pulling it into the armpit chest region. And we're going to release that one towards the mat. We'll do the same with our other side. Bring in the left leg. Pulling that one into the armpit chest region. Just give it a nice little warmth towards the body. Bring both of your knees in towards the chest now. Hug those in. We call this the wind release position for obvious reasons. Gives you a nice little massage through the organs in the lower part of the body. From here, we're going to do a happy baby. So rolling the hands on the insides of our legs, reaching through to either the arches of the feet, or you can take your peace fingers and just reach through to your big toes. Now I always do arches of the feet. Yoga's all about yoga for the brain, so today I'm going to use my peace fingers on my big toes. In your happy baby pose, I want you to pull your knees down into the armpit chest region. But as you do so, I want you to really drive the heels up. So it's going to feel like a bit of a counterbalance in this pose. And then you're going to try and get your tailbone to release to the mat rather than rolling your entire body backwards. I want you to release the tailbone towards the mat. And then just have that counterbalance of pulling the knees into the armpit chest region. Some people feel this is quite a nice one to roll back and forth, a bit of a lumbar spine massage here. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And from this position, I want you to bring both the knees back into the chest, really hug them in. We're going to release the left leg down towards the mat. And take the right knee, I'm going to dialing it across the body, coming into a nice, did you hear that spine of mine just pop? Wonderful. So from here, you're going to put a little pressure onto the right knee. I'm going to look to my right hand, so you should be looking away from your bent knee, keeping both shoulder blades onto the mat. Now this is a very similar, it's a reclined version of what we started with our stretches this morning. So it's just a really nice one to work through the spine. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. In this position, I want you to try and use your abdominal muscles to really help bring that knee back towards the midline of the body. Give it a little hug in towards the chest, and then release it down. Picking up the left leg, I'm going to hug that into the body. I'm going to place our right hand on the top of the left knee. We're going to dial it across the midline of the body, releasing it down towards the mat. We're going to take our left hand and release that just in a parallel with our shoulders. We're going to keep both of our shoulder blades onto the mat if possible, looking away from your bent knee. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And on your next inhale, using your abdominal muscles, try and use that weight to pull back that leg away from the abducted position into the body. Just hug it in towards your chest. Bring both knees in. Just one last hug here in your wind release position. Just rolling back and forth, just a lumbar spine massage that you can do on your yoga mat. And from here, we're just going to release both of the legs down towards the mat. So we're going to come into Shavasana. It's our relaxation pose. This one, you'll hear it called corpse pose. If you've done a class with me, it's not statue pose. At any stage you feel uncomfortable in this position, I want you to just readjust. I want your feet to just fall towards each corner of the yoga mat, and then releasing your hands, palms facing up. Release your arms as far away as you can, so you've got this really nice spread across the top of your shoulders, making connection with the yoga mat. And in this position, I want you to just gently tilt your hips towards the face, which means that your spine will be nice and flush with the yoga mat. From here, if you haven't done so already, just close the eyes, take a couple of nice deep breaths. I'm going to do a quick scan through the body, just looking for any tension or tightness, and then sending our breath there. So bringing the focus to your forehead, to see if there's any furrowing of the brow, if there's any tightness across the skin of your forehead, or maybe any tightness or pain in your jaw. From here, as you inhale, I want you to breathe into these areas. And upon your exhale, just release any tension or pain. Next, I want you to place the focus on your neck and your shoulders, just down to your upper back. Just feel that connection with the yoga mat. Be curious if there's any tension or tightness being stored there. As you inhale, send your breath. And upon your exhale, just release. Place a focus on your chest, on your abdomen, on your upper back, middle back, and lower back. Be curious if you feel any tension or tightness there. Just be aware of the mood of the body. Using your breath, inhale here. Send your breath to those areas, and upon your exhale, release. Place a focus on your pelvis, being tilted towards your face, on your glutes and on your thighs. Be curious if you feel any tension or tightness here. You really want these parts of the body just to relax with you during Shavasana. As you inhale, breathe into these areas. And upon your exhale, send your breath there and release. Next, place a focus on your knees, on your calves and ankles. Be curious if these parts of your body have released and relaxed. As you inhale, send your breath there. And as you exhale, release. Lastly, place the focus on your feet, on your heels, the arches of your feet, the balls of your feet and your toes. As you inhale, breathe into these areas. As you exhale, release. Take one more inhale and just scan through the body, looking for any tension or tightness. Send your breath there and then release. Now just bring your focus towards the room that you're lying in, to the weight of the body lying on the yoga mat, to the stillness that you've reached. On your next inhale, just gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. Very small movement, returning a little bit of energy back into the body. On your next inhale, take your right ear to right shoulder. Exhaling down, feel that stretch across the left-hand side of your neck. On your next inhale, coming back to neutral spine. And as you exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Feel that little bit of stretch down the right-hand side of your neck. Keep moving your fingers and your toes. On your next inhale, come back to neutral spine. As you exhale, bring the right knee into your chest. Inhale. Bring your left knee into your chest. Just hug them in. A little bit of movement here. We're going to dial both of our knees towards the left-hand side of your body. Dialing them down, coming into this fetal position we like to sleep in. Releasing your right hand towards the yoga mat. From here, as you inhale, I want you to push away from the yoga mat, push away in your right hand, coming back into that comfortable cross-seated position we started our class in today. Keep your eyes closed if you're comfortable with that. In your comfortable cross-leg position, I want you to lengthen through the midsection of the body, roll the shoulders up, back and down, making sure your chin is parallel with the floor. Take an inhale here, and an exhale out. Bring your hands towards your heart center in a Namaste prayer position. Just gently tilt the head ever so slightly towards your fingers. From here, take an inhale, and upon your exhale, just rub your palms together. As you rub them, you'll feel a bit of yogic heat, a little bit of warmth that comes in the palms. From here, I want you to place that warmth, place your palms over your closed eyes. Take an inhale. Flutter the eyes open under your palms. Become aware of the light. Inhale again. And upon your exhale, rub that warmth over your scalp, down your neck, over your shoulders, down your lower back, over your thighs, down the front of your shins and ending at your feet. A big thank you to your body for allowing you to practice today. Working your way through that warrior sequence, that warrior flow, you'll really feel that through your thighs, even through your glutes. And we had quite a workout on our arms today as we really held the plank and pulled down into chaturanga. So amazing work, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for the practice. As always, hands together at your heart center, up to your third eye, bowing forward. Namaste. Thank you so much.